What's up, guys? Welcome back to Slime Rancher. We're here with the third episode. Now, I start off this episode pretty lucky actually, because when I drop down here, I find a Yolky slime. Now, these guys spawn in just chicken nests or hen nests, and they're usually pretty hard to find. Like, I've looked for these guys in previous playthroughs for like half an hour without finding them. But the only times I've found them is accidental. It's just so crazy to me. So starting off the video pretty lucky is definitely a way to start. So I just pop this guy right into the chicken coop because that's basically their pen. They're kind of like fire and water slimes, how they need like the incinerator or pond. These guys need the chicken coop. And later in this video, I'll show you what they do in the chicken coop. Actually profit from them. Now, here I'm moving my slimes because I don't want the tabbies right next to the chickens, because if they get out and eat all my chickens, well then I just have to go out and collect them back, and that's not something I want to do. So I just move them over, and plus I do it for another reason, because I want to put a silo there, because the whole point of this game is to make money, and it functions through the plort market, which is like the stock market. So sometimes the prices will be very low on ports, so you want to store them up until they get to a real high price so you can sell them all at once just to make a buttload of money. So I hop back into the Starlight Strand just to find some more slimes and food for them. Because the more slimes you have on the farm, the more money you can make, because the different plorts sell for varying amount of money. So just going back in the Starlight Strand to collect more of that stuff. So during this trip, I end up finding Q-berries, which is the favorite food of phosphor slimes, because I do want to put them on my ranch. I also end up popping this honey Gordo slime and collecting all these honey slimes, because I also want to put those on my ranch. That also opens up a cave, which in turn lets me explore more areas. And after opening up that cave, I go get a strange diamond from this cave, and also collect 2 phosphor plorts so I can put them in these statues, which open the doors that allow me to easily access more areas around the Starlight Strand. I also get the map section for this section of the Starlight Strand. But overall, I think that was a pretty good just exploration of the Starlight Strand. I got most of what I wanted, and overall, very successful. And with getting back to my ranch, I'm able to implement all this stuff by adding the honey slimes into this enclosure and putting the Q-berries right behind them, because I wasn't able to find them in Mango, and I end up mixing these guys with the phosphor slimes anyway. So in turn, when you make a Largo out of 2 slimes, when you combine the 2 slimes, they combine. So basically, I make a honey phosphor Largo, which in turn, if I feed it a Q-berry, which is phosphor slime's favorite food, it gives me 2 plorts of the honey slime and the phosphor slime. So 1 piece of fruit gets me 4 plorts. basically, and that is very money efficient. Here the Yolki slime comes back into play. So when they're in this chicken coop, these guys make these big eggs that has their ports in it. And they also have the stony chicks, or the hen that resides in the coop. So basically, they spew out the eggs, you break them, you get all their money, and you usually want to save them up because you don't get a lot at a time. You get about, I think, 3 to 6 at one time, so you very much want to store them. Here I also mix the tabby and rock slimes together for the same reason as the honey and phosphor slimes. Now, one of the improvements they made in Slime Rancher 2 that I like a lot more than Slime Rancher 1 is the resource harvesting. Because resources are used for crafting upgrades and, like, the drones, like, helpful things is how I'll put it, because I can't word it any better. But usually, in Slime Rancher 1, you had to put these drills all around the map to get a lot more different resources. In Slime Rancher 2, they're just littered around the map that refill over time. And overall, I think that was a very good decision by them. So I returned to the Starlight Strand in hopes of collecting all these different materials, because some of the different materials or resources you can get here is Radiant Ore, which is very important for upgrades. I also collect a lot of Silky Sand. I don't collect any Buzz Wax, but that is one of the things here. I collect an extra Ringtail Slime, and overall it was another successful trip to the Starlight Strand. I also kick this chicken around like a fuzzy beach ball because I don't know, it's shaped like one, and I had a lot of fun doing that. Little side tangent, just for fun. That may or may not have ended in murder. So this is the other side of the Starlight Strand. I forgot to mention it earlier, but it is like the sandy, like blue part of the Starlight Strand, other than like the pink, foresty part. It houses angler slimes, and it's over like sandy, beachy part. So I drop off all my resources, the Silky Sand, Radiant Ore, and Deep Brine, and just do a little more exploring around the Rainbow Fields, I think this is what it's called. But yeah, I hear that little jingle of like resources, so I hop down here where there's some Jellystone and Deep Brine, and this little cool cave that has a treasure orb. I don't know what they're called. But overall, this is a nice little, like, cozy part of the Rainbow Fields. So I also do a bunch of plort collecting here because, as you can tell, I'm broke. I have 433 plort bucks. I don't know what they're called again. But yeah, I run around and get like 140 of the cotton orbs because they're not going up. So I just decide to sell them to make just a buttload of money since they're at a decent price and I can just easily sell them all. What do I spend all this newfound money on? Upgrades! I get the water tank so I can store water and shoot tar slimes. I get the extra tank. I get the tank booster, which just the tanks I have will go up from 20 to 30 so I can store more items in my inventory. I also get the extra tank, so I now have 5 tanks, which is very nice. So I can, when I go out exploring, I can just overall collect up a lot more things before having to go back and drop them off. And the last thing I get is actually the most important one, because I get the jetpack, which allows me to fly around, which allows for faster travel in, like, steeper terrain. But I think that's going to be it for this episode of Slime Rancher. The next episode, I plan to explore the next new area, and because I've just explored the Starlight Strand. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I did, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.